What happens when love no longer fits? When the person you once couldn't imagine living without starts to feel like a stranger. Not because they did something unforgivable. Not because you stopped loving them. But because you started healing. And they didn't. This isn't the end of your story. It's a turning point. The kind almost no one talks about until you're standing in the thick of it. At first, it's subtle. You pick up a book that shifts your mindset. You attend therapy. You start journaling. Breathing through your triggers instead of reacting. You set one small boundary. Then another. You're not trying to be better than them. You're trying to be better for you. But something changes. Your growth starts to sound like criticism to their ears. Your clarity starts to feel like confrontation to them. And your peace becomes their discomfort. They fell in love with a version of you who couldn't say no. Who over-explained to avoid conflict. Who shrank themselves to keep the peace. And now? You're saying no without guilt. You're choosing rest over rescue. You're speaking with a voice you fought hard to reclaim. Suddenly, you're too sensitive. You've changed. You think you're better than me. You see, they weren't in love with your soul. They were in love with your silence. Not all love is healthy. Not all connection is growth. Sometimes, what we call love is just a pattern we learned in survival mode. And once you start healing, those patterns unravel. You're not the same. You can't unsee what you've seen. You can't return to a cage you've outgrown. So now you sit at the dinner table, one person speaking with clarity, while the other withdraws. It's not that they've become the enemy. It's that you're no longer playing the same emotional game. And here's the hardest truth: sometimes your healing makes people uncomfortable. Because your boundaries expose their avoidance. Your growth highlights their stagnation, and even though you never intended to hurt them, your evolution becomes the very thing they resist. You start questioning yourself. Am I selfish? Should I shrink back just a little? Is this what loyalty looks like? But loyalty doesn't mean losing yourself. Love is not sacrifice. It's support. Mutual. Respectful. Expansive. And when only one person is growing, the relationship begins to suffocate. You can't carry both of you. You can't pour from a self that's finally learning how to fill up. So what do? You grieve. Not just the person, but the future you once imagined with them. You let go, not in anger, but in compassion. You walk away, not because you stopped loving them, but because you started loving yourself enough to know when love becomes a cage. You don't owe anyone your stagnation. You're not here to stay small so others can stay comfortable. And you're not abandoning them. You're honoring your growth. You're answering a call they chose not to hear. Some people are seasonal. They were meant to walk with you to a certain point. To teach you something. To reflect a part of you that needed to be seen. But not everyone is meant to rise with you. And that's okay. Because the love that's meant for you won't ask you to dim your light. It won't punish your progress. It will celebrate your healing, not question it. You don't need to explain your journey to people who are committed to misunderstanding it. You're not selfish. You're not cold. You're evolving. And sometimes evolution requires separation. This is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of who you're becoming. So breathe deep. Keep going. Keep healing. And when love feels too small for the person you're becoming, it's okay to outgrow it. If this story resonates with you, you're not alone. Subscribe to Marriage and Relationship 247 for weekly cinematic stories on healing, boundaries, and love that grows with you, not against you. because you don't need to shrink to be loved. You deserve to shine.